Hey, hi, it's Pastor Wally again. How are you today? I'm so glad you could come and be here this afternoon or whenever it is you're watching, because we came out here special to talk about something that, I'll bet you've seen it once in a while. Have you ever seen a hawk? Do you know what a hawk is? Well, a hawk is a big bird, and it's really amazing because they can fly super high. And they're a lot bigger than the little robins or the sparrows that you see around the yard. They're really, really wonderful. They're majestic. They're like the king of the birds. And I like watching hawks. For years and years, I've gone up on top of mountains and watched for them. And you can see what they do is they migrate right at this time of year. This is like the peak time. I mean, all through September and October, they migrate all the way down from Canada, all the way down to South America even. But when they come through here, it's wonderful because you can pick out the different kinds of hawks. Yeah. Well, you know what's cool is sometimes you can't see hawks because they're in the trees, they're hidden, they're waiting, they're looking for something to get for their next meal. But when they're migrating, then they're flying and you get to see them in all the ways they look. Now I'm up here in Vernon, up on top of a mountain in a big field. And I just saw, just 5 minutes ago, one just flew right over. It was so cool, but it wasn't time. I wasn't ready to start the show. And actually, it's kind of hard to do, really, with the camera because they're higher up. So you know what I did today? Well, I brought you pictures, really good pictures, okay, of a few different kinds of hawks that you may see. And if you look for them, you will see them as time goes by. So let's take a look at a few, okay? All right, let's do it. Okay, well now, the first hawk we want to talk about is probably the most common hawk, and I'll bet you've all seen them from time to time. They're called the Redtail hawk. You know what a Redtail hawk is? Well, it's a particular kind of hawk. There's different kinds of hawks. And one kind of hawk is called a Broadwing hawk. And a Broadwing hawk, what do you think they're called that? Can you guess? You're right, they got big broad wings, really, really broad wings. So here's a picture of a red-tailed hawk. Can you see that? That's a picture of a red-tailed hawk, and they're very common. You see a lot of them around here. See how broad his wings are. Wow, they are big. And look at his tail. His tail is red, like rusty red, right? Now sometimes they're more red than others. Some birds have redder tails, some birds have a little more browner looking tail. And when they sit on a perch on a post or something, and you see them and they're not flying, well, that tail, let's get a little closer there. That tail right over here, what happens is it hides. The wings come down over it, and you don't see that when they're perched. You only see it when they fly, usually. So that's a red-tailed hawk. You know what I found when I was looking for pictures of red-tailed hawks? You know what I also found? I found pictures of red-tailed hawk babies. I'll bet you never saw those. I didn't. This is the first time I've ever seen a red-tailed hawk baby. What do you think that a newly hatched red-tailed hawk chick looks like? What do you think? You think it's got a red tail? Think it's brown? No, not. It's not. No, look, here, these are baby red-tailed hawks. Look at this. Wow, isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. There they are. Two little baby red-tailed hawks that just must have hatched out recently, and they look so little white and innocent, don't they? Dark eyes and dark beaks, and even a little yellow over the beak. But in time, they're going to grow, and they're going to become the big, majestic birds that their parents are. Wow, pretty amazing. Well, let's take a look at another kind of hawk, okay? There's another kind of hawk, and there's different kinds of hawks that are broad-winged hawks, but there's another kind of hawk. It's called an accipiter hawk. Can you say that? Accipiter. Yeah, accipiter. If you say it, you'll sound real smart. So learn to say that. It's an accipiter hawk. Well, an accipiter is a kind of hawk that doesn't look for rabbits and squirrels and mice and things like that, like broadwing hawks do. They go after mostly other birds. Yeah, they're equipped to fly super fast. Broadwing hawks are equipped to spread their big wings, and they hang in the sky, and they have really, really, really good vision. Oh, they can see really well. So they look down and they can see in the field if just a little mouse is moving or something, and they can zero in and get it. But accipiters, they don't need a lot. See, the Broadwings don't need a lot of speed. They need to be able to hang in the air. But accipiters, they're different. They have to dive. They have to go after fast-flying birds sometimes. Of course, they usually pick ones that aren't flying so fast. Usually, sometimes they come around a bird feeder and they take their pick there too, you know. But here is a picture of a sharp-shinned hawk. That's one of the accipiters. It's very common, and you'll see them flying through and migrating through the area. That's an accipiter called a sharp-shinned hawk. Now, there's several different kinds of hawks that are accipiters. There's the little sharp-shinned. They're called Sharpies. People that watch them, they look for a Sharpie. You can kind of tell by the shape. Take a look. See how his wings are a little stubbier? They're not quite as long as the other ones was. And look at his tail. It's long and narrow, long and skinny. That's so that he can get fast speed. And what they do is you don't see them flying in the sky, like hanging in the sky like you do Broadwing hawks. No, they hide in the trees and they watch. They watch for where there might be a bird that they could grab. And one day, years ago, I was feeding birds at my house, and I had a lot of birds were coming, and I had this big mourning dove that landed and was sitting on the railing, actually, waiting to go to the bird feeder. And I just happened to be, it was a snowy, cold day, and I stand to be looking through the window at it. All of a sudden, I barely could see what happened. All of a sudden, boom, there was a whole burst of feathers, and I looked, and this accipiter had come in, this hawk had come in, got like this, grabbed the bird and flew off with it for its dinner. Well, kind of sad because I kind of like those birds, but you know what, the point is that they all have to live, right? Lions have to find their food too, right? So the hawks have to eat something too. And that's how it did it. It flew like a bullet. Wow, could it go fast. And so that's what they look like. This might be a Cooper's hawk. Some of them have bars on the tails. There's different ways to tell them apart by knowing just, how they're marked, So that's why it's always a good thing to have this. A book. Yeah, a book. You can learn. We still use books, Books are great because they have lots of pictures and lots of information. Oh, you can look online too. I mean, there's lots of information there. That's where I got all my pictures from. But it's very cool because if you get a bird book, it'll tell you all the little different things about how to identify different kinds of birds. In this case, different kinds of hawks. It's really fascinating what they'll have there. So it's good to read it. It's good to understand and know. Now, let's take a look at something else. Okay, let's take a look at the next picture. Ready? Okay, here we go. The next picture, this is a picture of a sharp-shinned hawk just sitting on a perch. Now, the reason I got this picture was so you could see how its legs are really long and skinny? Okay, that's why it's called a sharp-shinned hawk. It's kind of a skinny, narrow-legged hawk. And when it flies, those legs are hidden up underneath. But when it comes down, it lands that way. That's how you can tell what it is. Yeah, look at the size of its claws. Wow. Claws are the powerful instrument of, well, it's how they get their dinner. It's through their claws. So let's take a look here. Let's look at the next one. Now, another kind of bird that's also an accipiter, a little different kind from the sharp-shinned hawk, is a falcon. Oh, falcons. They're great. They're really sleek. They're like fighter jets. They're like the fighter jets of hawks. That's what I think, okay? Because if you look at their wings are like narrow and pointy. They are the super speeders, okay? And this is what a peregrine falcon looks like. Look at this. Look at that. See how pointy his wings are? Wow, can he fly fast? They are the fastest. And here's another picture I wanted to show you. This is very cool because, well, here's another one. Before I show you the really cool one, I want to show you something else that's kind of cool. Falcons for years have been captured and trained. It used to be called the sport of kings because you had to have a lot of time and you had to have a lot of patience and you had to have a lot of people to work with it to be able to capture one of these birds and train it. But have you ever seen a falcon with a trainer? Oh man, it's so amazing because the trainer just holds the falcon right on his arm like that. They can't use their bare arm. They have a thick, heavy leather glove over their arm. And the falcon will land right on there. And then what they do is when they whistle, or they let the falcon, they take a little cap off the falcon's head. The falcon will go and fly, and will search for something and hunt it and bring it back to them. Yeah, it's really a cool kind of a thing. I saw, if ever you go to the Renaissance Fair, they usually always have a falcon demonstration up there. That's pretty cool stuff. So anyway, so here's a falconer with a falcon on his see how he's got a big heavy leather glove on there? You don't want those talons to stick into your hand. So he's got something to protect himself with, and that falcon came right back and landed. I wish I could have a falcon. I think that would be the coolest thing in the world. I don't know. What's more cool than that? All right, anyway. Here is a picture. Buster, what's the matter? You gotta wait, Buster. Yeah, we haven't seen any. He's kind of wanting to play, but he's gonna have to wait. Anyway, I got a picture. This is a really neat picture of a falcon, peregrine falcon, diving. Do you know how fast they can dive? Do you know how fast they go? You got any guesses? Well, I looked it up. They can go 200 miles an hour when they dive after something. Wow! They fold their wings back and they dive like a bullet, like a missile. And they're able to guide themselves right to it, whatever they're going to. 200 miles an hour. Now, think about how fast that is. What's the fastest you ever gone on your bicycle? Ever go downhill on your bicycle? And it's going faster, faster. Well, it's probably doing like 20, 30 miles an hour, maybe. I don't know. Don't do anything that's dangerous, okay? We don't want you falling off and getting hurt. But it seems like you're going super fast when you're doing that. But then when you get in your car with your mom and dad, and you're driving down Route 80, and they're doing 65 or 70 or 75 miles an hour, well, that's a lot faster, right? That leaves the bicycle way back in the dust. But the falcon can go 200 miles an hour. That's way, way faster than you go in your car. Wow. Well, here's a picture of one diving. Look at this picture. This is the coolest picture. Gotta do it the right way. Look at that. Wow. He is diving. Look how aerodynamic it is. That means the air can flow over him like a bullet, like really, really smooth. Look at him. His eyes he's zeroed in on something. He's got his wings back and he's zipping through the air. You know what he looks like? You know what that looks like? That looks exactly like a B-2 bomber. Yeah, one of our Air Force bombers. Look at that. See that picture? I got that one off of there because I thought that is so cool. Look, it's the same shape. Yeah, B-2 bomber. Here's another picture. This is what, in case you don't know what, that's what a B-2 bomber looks like from up above. Okay, it looks kind of like the falcon. We learn a lot of things from what nature has, right? None of these ideas started with us. We just copy things. It's true. It's very true. Okay, now a couple more birds and we got to get on here, but I want to show you a couple other things. Have you ever seen an osprey? Ospreys, they're around here. If you live near a lake, I'll bet you've seen an osprey from time to time. Now, an osprey is a hawk that's very large, and it has a wingspan that's really, really big. It looks like almost like a giant seagull because their wings are a little bent. Here's a picture of an osprey. Have you ever seen one of them? Well, one of the ways you can tell it's an osprey is because it's really white in the middle. And if you look at his wings up here and over here, two very dark spots. And their shape, it just gives them away. They're excellent fishers. Oh, they go for fish. Wow, do they go for fish. Look at this picture that I got. This is the coolest thing. This is a time-lapse picture of an osprey diving into the water. Look at this. Watch this. Look. Here he is diving into the water, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how he's tucking his wings back, and then he pulls them all the way back as he goes in the water. This is it all close up. Look at his feet. Look what he did with his feet. His feet are way out in the front. He's going to dive in that water at probably a couple hundred miles an hour like the falcon, and he's zooming in on a fish, and those sharp talons are going to grab that fish. Isn't that amazing? Wow, I've seen that happen. Have you seen it? I saw it happen one time. I've actually seen it a number of times. The bird came almost straight down and hit the water so hard that it made a huge splash. And the next thing I know, I see him flapping up, and he's got a fish in his talons. You ever see that? Sometimes you see that too. Here's a picture of one. Here's a picture of an osprey flying away with his dinner, with a fish. Wow. That's some way to go fishing, right? Well, sometimes I've even seen them migrating and having a fish in their claws, carrying it with them for a snack along the way. And then just fly away, bite one, and keep on going. All right, now, the last bird to talk about. What do you think it is? What do you think is the best bird of all? The biggest bird, the most majestic bird of all? What do you think it is? The eagle. Yeah, the bald eagle. That's why we have it as our national bird, right? Have you ever seen a bald eagle? Well, they're around here, and they make nests in certain places. We got to be very careful we don't hurt them or disturb them, because we want them to keep on growing and increasing, because they're just so cool. But there's places you can go up, like up on the Delaware River, and watch them dive after fish in the river. You can always tell it's an eagle when you see it flying. Two ways. You know how? Well, look at this picture. See how long his wings are? Long and straight, right? Well, that's one of the things, because compared to his body, his wings are huge. The second thing is, you always look, if you can, to find the white tail and the white head. If you see that, oh man, you got a bald eagle. And they're around here, and they are really, really beautiful. Just plain beautiful. The most majestic birds. And here's the last picture I want to show you. This is a picture of a bald eagle diving at something that it's going to attack. Look at those claws down here. Look at them. Wow. Are they powerful? They are super powerful. Those things, I sure would not want them digging into me. Most people think that the dangerous thing of a bird is his beak. Well, that could be dangerous, but the claws, they get their prey in their claws, it's over. They just fly away with it. Well, isn't that an amazing thing? I just wanted to show you some of these pictures. I'm sorry we can't really see any flying here today, but they're around, and this is exactly the time of year to go look for them. You got it. It's right now. I was out in front of my church the other day, and there was 6 of them flying around. They're going around and around in circles. They're all red-tail hawks, and they were kind of flying around. They were going up, because what they do is they catch some warm air that rises. And you see, hawks and eagles and those kind of birds, they don't fly by flapping their wings a lot. Some birds, that's how they go, right? Most birds do, but not those birds. They stretch their wings out like this. Once they get air moving underneath them, it just picks them up like a kite, and they just soar up in the sky, and they go around and around in circles, and each time they go around the circle, they go higher, and they go higher, and they go higher. When they get really, really high, and then they want to go somewhere, then they dive off that, and they go bzzz. They lose altitude, they get some more warm air, and they go up, and they go up, and they go up, and they go up, and then they go dive. Maybe they go a couple miles. Depends on what the air is like. Well, here's one of the things I was thinking about, talk about today, spiritually, about birds, about hawks, because in the Bible, it says that if you trust in God, if you wait on the Lord, is what the words are. I mean, if you pray and you ask God to come into your heart, you ask Jesus to come inside you and live in you, and the Holy Spirit to fill you, it says that if you do that, and you pray and you come to God, you will rise up like with wings like an eagle. Yeah, because spiritually his power will come in you, like the warm air comes up underneath the eagle, and it'll lift you. All you have to do is put out your spiritual wings. Yeah, that's spiritual wings. That's praying. That's singing and worshiping God. That's opening up your heart and being quiet and asking him to come in. That's reading God's word and learning it and thinking about it and kind of digesting it inside you, so it becomes like spiritual food. And you become like an eagle. You just grow and you soar. Oh, isn't that the best? Book of Isaiah says that. It says that they that wait on the Lord will mount up, they will fly up, rise up with wings like eagles. They'll be like young people that can run and not ever get tired. They just go, there's no exertion. They just put out their wings and catch that powerful, powerful movement underneath them of air. Well, that's the lesson today from all of this. Hey, by the way, we got a song to sing. New song, I just learned it. It's an old song. I can't believe I don't know it, because I'm old and I know most of them. But this is a song I just learned. It's called Come Along With Me to My Father's House. And it's really, really simple. I think you can learn it really easy. You want to try? It goes like this. It says, come along with me to my Father's house. to my Father's house, to my Father's house. Come along with me to my Father's house where there's joy, joy, joy. Think you can do it? Let's try it. We'll sing it a few times. It goes like this. Oops, we got to get our little pick out. Hold on. Find the pick. There we go. Here we go. Come along with me to my Father's house, to my Father's house, to my Father's house. Oh, now come along with me to my Father's house where there's joy, joy, joy. Come along with me to my Father's house, to my Father's house, to my Father's house. Oh, now come along with me to my Father's house where there's joy, joy, joy. Here's another verse. We'll see Jesus there in my Father's house, in my Father's house, in my Father's house. Oh, now we'll see Jesus there in my Father's house where there's joy, joy, joy. Try that again. We'll see Jesus there, oh, in my Father's house, in my Father's house. Oh, now in my Father's house, bum-ba-dum, we'll see Jesus there in my Father's house where there's joy, joy, joy. One more song. Here's one more verse. No more crying there in my Father's house, in my Father's house, in my Father's house. Oh, now one more crying there in my Father's house where there's joy, 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 where there's joy, 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 joy. Yes, sir. My Father's house. You know what that is. You know what that means? That means God. God is our Father, right? And if we go to His house, it's going to be okay. And you can go to His house just by opening up your heart and praying and asking Him, oh, Father, come and fill me with your presence. Well, it's been really good to have you here today. I'm so glad you joined us. And we'll see you again next week, and we'll do something else. Okay? Okay. God bless you. Bye-bye.